Welcome to Fit for a Feast. My name is Katrina.
And my name is Sloane. And today on Fit for a Feast, we're going to be talking about my dance costumes. But since I have so many, this will be part 1 of 2.
Okay, so let's start pulling them out.
So first off, we have this one, and I used this costume for my very first jazz solo, and it was called Speaking on a Star. And this costume had a hat to match. This costume I used for my last year in competitive, and it was my acro number called Turn Back Time.
I remember this dance, it was so funny.
This costume was for my musical theater number, and it was Legally Blonde. We also had a purse that we used, and it had a chihuahua on it. This one I also used for my last year of competitive dancing, and it was my tap solo called Light the Shade. This is what the top looked like underneath the jacket. This one was my first year of competitive hip-hop, and it was called Apologize. We were mimes in this dance.
This costume's so little.
Yeah, I used this costume for my first year of acro. And it was a number called Wild West or Wild Wild West, something like that. And in this dance, I did my aerial, and because I was the only one who could do it.
I love this dance.
So yeah, we had to wear this hat. And I did this number when I was really young, so. This costume was for a lyrical number called Little Red. And in this dance, we had a rose. In my last year of competitive, I did a trio called Happy Endings, and this was a jazz number, but it was kind of like more lyrical.
You can see this video on YouTube.
I like this number a lot. I used this costume for my last year of competitive dancing, and it was my open number called Sunday Bloody Sunday. This was supposed to be like a uniform for school, because we were supposed to be at the playground when it happened in the dance. This was a small jazz group. I remember it was kind of confusing to put on and to take off.
I really like that dance.
For this dance, it was an open group number, and it was called Hey You, and in this dance, we were mental patients. This one I really liked because it was called Autumn Leaves, so we had leaves in our pockets, and at one part we threw them in the air when we did a jump. So it was really cool, and it was a lyrical number.
That dance was really good.
This number was called It's How You Do It, and it was my tap solo, and here's the top. And then I also had black pants.
This is a really heavy costume.
Oh, I know. This one, it was my last year, and it was a tap routine called Beethoven. So, we were supposed to be Beethoven.
costume.
Yeah, I really like this costume a lot. So for this one, it was also my last year of competitive. It was a small lyrical number called Expectations. This number was choreographed by Caroline Torty, who you might know from Sleeping Beauty Dance Canada.
You can see some of Caroline's videos when we were really young.
This dance was on YouTube. So this routine was called the Lime in a Coconut, and I did it when I was doing recreational dancing. It was a tap number. So this was my first acro number, non-competitive, and it was called Shake Your Groove Thing. This part is the top, and then the bottom's underneath. This costume was for one of my ballet numbers, and it was called Sleeping Beauty Waltz. In this routine, we had a huge prop that went around, and we would hold it up that had a bunch of flowers on them.
You can see that on YouTube as well.
So this was also a ballet number, and it was called Masquerade, and in it we had a mask. And for this ballet number, we had to use a tutu. So this would go over top, and the skirt would come out, and then we'd pin it down.
We would have a bag like this to keep the tutu in so it doesn't get ruined.
So this costume was a theater solo, and it was called Spanish Rose. And in this one, I started off with just this covering it, the rope, and then I would take it off and throw it down, and then I had this Mexican kind of costume underneath. And this was the skirt, and then the top.
I really like that dance too.
Yeah. It was really fun. The only problem was, in one competition that I did it, the music stopped, so I had to keep lip singing and just going on without music. This routine was called TikTok, and it was a jazz number, and it was supposed to be kind of like Alice in Wonderland. This routine was a jazz number, and it was called Ordinary Day. And the thing about this costume was, for everyone, it was really, really tight here, so it was actually kind of hard to breathe. But it's okay, because it looks nice. For one of my recital performances, the zipper actually broke at the back, so I had to go on with the back open.
This looks like it was from quite a while ago.
Yeah, it was. It was, one show was called Willy Wonka or something, because I know we were on the W there for Willy Wonka. This number was really fun and will always be one of my favorites. This was a duet that I did with my friend Hallie, and you can see it on YouTube. For this, I was a guy, so I had this. It was a 70s kind of thing.
I remember in this dance I used to stand backstage and hand this to you.
Yeah, this was my first musical theater solo, and it was called Amazing Gertrude. And it was from the musical Seussical the Musical. And I had this huge thing at the back, and it was about my tail growing. So I had to pull this to make it like longer. In the beginning it would start off really small like that.
It's a Pillsbury bush.
My mom actually made this prop for me.
I remember this dance.
Yep, Let's Get Soaking Wet. It was really fun. And it was a jazz routine, and we had this little swimming cap. And for one of our competitions, when we went to Myrtle Beach, me and some of the girls, we actually wore this into the ocean. It's funny.
That is half of Sloane's costume, so we will be doing the next half on the next video, part 2. Say goodbye, Sloane's cat. Billy? No, okay.